Hi, I'm Matt Moore from the Action Network, and let's talk a little bit about the trouble the Utah Jazz have in the playoffs. The Dallas Mavericks were down 88-84 at the 9-minute mark in Game 2 of their best-of-7 series versus the Utah Jazz. They trailed the Jazz 0-1 in the series and were without Luka Doncic. Things looked pretty bleak. The Mavs had played tough, but hadn't been able to take control of the game over the Jazz when Rudy Gobert re-entered the game. 9 minutes of play later, and Dallas had secured an improbable victory without their best player and paid off plus 175 on the money line to Mavs bettors, 110-104, closing on a 26-16 run. The way it went down highlighted all the issues that have plagued Utah in the playoffs for years. They neither start nor end with Rudy Gobert, and neither start nor end with the Jazz's porous perimeter defenders. Nothing Dallas did is new to Utah. They've seen this, they've expected it, they've known it was coming, and yet they were still unable to counter it. That's the small ball lineup that the Mavericks have been basically programming since they traded Kristaps Porzingis. The Mavericks don't play a traditional center. Dwight Powell and Maxi Kleber are both 6'10", but Maxi Kleber is able to space the floor. So the Mavs put Kleber in the corner, forcing Gobert to have to make a decision. Does he leave his shooter to do what he does best, which is protect the rim, or does he not help and give up what will be a contested but very makeable layup for Jalen Brunson, who shot 15 of 25 in Game 2 and 8 of 11 in the paint? Gobert only takes a half step over here, and it's a layup for Brunson due to Conley's inability to stop the ball. On this one, Daniel House falls for Brunson, showing the ball to his right hand, and he breaks contain. Once again, Gobert is forced to decide whether to leave the shooter or help prevent the layup. He helps and deters Brunson, but House doesn't switch, and it's an open three again. And time again, the Jazz perimeter defenders can't stop the ball, and time again, Gobert leaves to help, leaving Kleber open for three. Kleber had an outlier shooting performance. Those things happen in the playoffs. He's a career 36% shooter who is shooting 18.8% from three since the All-Star break. In Game 2, Kleber went for 8 of 11 from three-point range for 25 points. That is just bad luck. But these are all rhythm catch-and-shoot opportunities over and over and over. This is where the blame game happens. People wonder why Gobert's man is the one drilling threes over and over. It's because he has to help down to prevent a layup because of poor perimeter containment. Layups are more valuable than threes, but trying to parse the value of a contested layup from a smaller offensive player versus an open catch-and-shoot three is still not a situation you want to be in the first place. All of this, however, ignores a larger problem, which is that the Jazz don't need to and honestly can't adopt a different situation play style with their personnel. They need to force the opponent back into a lineup that allows the Jazz to play their base drop coverage, because when they do, they're the best team in basketball at it. It limits guard penetration with Gobert looming down low, and it gives the guard time to recover while keeping guys on the shooters to prevent those open catch-and-shoot opportunities. But in order to force those small ball lineups off the floor, you have to punish them at the other end, and that's where everything falls apart for Utah. Gobert took just one shot attempt in Game 1 and just 5 in Game 2. Donovan Mitchell force-fed him lobs in 2 of the Jazz's first 5 possessions, and Gobert wouldn't attempt another shot until a putback late in the first. He'd get one more lob attempt and then no more shots until the fourth, when this disaster happened. Yikes. There were other possessions where Gobert got the ball on the roll, but there wasn't a shot attempt because, well, yeah, not pretty. There was also this post-up, which, okay, let's just never talk about that again. Which is why so often you see the Jazz simply not feeding Gobert the ball, no matter the advantage that he has. The Jazz will continually look him off. The Mavs know this, which is why they know they can get away with their small ball lineups the same way the Clippers did last season. So again, we have a two-way failure with Utah. The guards don't trust Gobert, often overlooking him when his man is sealed all the way under the basket, and Gobert does not reward that trust when given those opportunities. But guards and wings who miss a few shots don't have their touches cut out. Gobert does. The only way for Utah to break this and get the game back where they need it is to have Gobert punish smaller defenders on the other end. You can argue until you're blue in the face that the other Jazz perimeter defenders should guard better, but they're simply unable to at the level they need to. The Jazz pay Gobert $35 million a year to be the best rim protector in basketball in the last 10 years. They need him to actually be able to play that role. As for the betting side of this, I looked at teams that specifically ran a lot of zone in the second half versus Utah this season to wear them down. The Blazers ran a ton, and the Jazz predictably smashed them. So did Houston, another lottery squad. But if you take playoff teams that were top 10 in switches versus the Jazz in the second half of the game this season, Utah was 6-12-1 against the spread in that situation. Until the Jazz prove they can figure out a way to solve the only problem that's busted them year after year, the Mavericks will be live to cover their games versus Utah and live to win the series outright at +180. For the Action Network, I'm Matt Moore.